Welcome to the QIC-EY podcast, a conversation to illuminate core themes for advancing children and youth engagement and empowerment in child welfare. This podcast works in conjunction with the QIC-EY Workforce Training. I'm your host, April Dinwiddie. In this limited series, we hear from three professionals, Phoenix Santiago, Nathan Ross, and Jamole Callahan. While their experiences connected to child welfare are all different, they all share the same deep commitment to ensuring systematic changes in how children and youth are authentically engaged and empowered. In this episode, we are talking about supporting child and youth voice with Jamole Callahan.
Hi, I'm Jamole Callahan. My preferred pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm a project specialist with both NACYAC, the North American Council on Adoptable Children, and also the QIC-EY. Not only do I have experience as a professional working with children, youth, and families, I also have a personal experience that gives me the unique perspectives related to authentic engagement and empowerment of children and youth.
Child welfare professionals play a vital role in supporting child and youth voices, and it's a critical part of authentic engagement and empowerment. I wanted to hear from Jamole. What does this theme mean to him? Why is it so important? And why is it sometimes such a difficult part of the work?
Well, historically, we know that not only in child welfare, but children across the board, they're not typically listened to. Why? Because adults feel like they haven't lived enough life. They don't have enough experience to have an opinion. And that's part of the huge barrier of why young people don't speak up. I remember experiencing foster care, and when I would raise my hand and say that something is not right, I don't feel comfortable, then it's downplayed to, oh, he's just a kid. What does he know? Yes, he's been through a number of placements already, but what, again, does he know? So as a young person, you kind of feel like, what's the point? What's the point of even speaking up if nothing's going to happen? But we also know that when young people speak up and they advocate for themselves, great things happen.
That's right. Great things do happen when we support the voices of children and youth, and it's also easier said than done. Jamole had some thoughts on why supporting children and youth voices can be so challenging.
When youth voice not only is supported, but also heard, you have partnerships that can be created. Not to say that everything is going to be smooth sailing from that point, but there's an understanding. There's a relationship that builds. There is trust that begins to develop in a young person that sees it's hard to trust people. So that's no different from, me letting you drive the car and expecting you to get me to that destination. But if you don't know where you're going, you're asking your navigator, the person in your passenger seat, which could be that young person, to get you where you both need to go. And you get there safely, you get there timely. So trust is built when a young person feels confident enough and that you're going to listen.
The benefits for children and youth are truly endless, and there can be a ripple effect that can happen when children and youth find their voice and know how to use it.
Once you advocate for yourself successfully, and then and you figure out, and this is what happens, that there are more than just you as a young person that is experiencing the same things in the system, you're almost compelled to start advocating or learning how to advocate for other people. And not to mention, when you feel inspired and motivated to speak out on challenges that are happening in the system, when given that lane, some of us take it. And it could be local government, it could be local child welfare, it can go as far as advocating at the federal level. But when you see a problem or you see an issue or a barrier, you try to find ways to fix it. And again, once a young person finds that voice, their voice, there's no telling how far they can go to shift what we do in this system.
Remember, not all youth have to become advocates for others, but it's truly inspiring when it does happen. I went on to ask Jamole to offer an example of professionals supporting the voices of children and youth, and here's what he had to say.
So I teach life skills class for a county in Ohio. One thing we started doing was allowing them to truly get out in the beginning of class, when class starts. What are some things that are on their mind? What are some things that are troubling? What are they experiencing? And being able to go around and get everyone's ideas, opinions, thoughts, what they're experiencing, and creating a safe space for them to do that. And then checking in with them by week 10 to say, well, what happened? There was one young man who he didn't have privileges for electronics. He didn't have privileges to talk to his siblings. And we were able to actually have a conversation, not only with him, but the staff where he was, to find out what were some of the barriers. Because what it turned out being is he didn't understand why he had all of these restrictions. And he was afraid to ask about it because it turned out how he was responding to the staff and them saying no, or why he couldn't do it. Of course, it wasn't what we would assume is the greatest response. He was a little forceful, kind of loud. I mean, kids will be kids, right? Especially when you're angry and you don't know exactly what's going on. But in that process of helping them find his voice, he also understood why he was getting the reactions he was getting from staff. So to me, like I said, week 10, it was more of an aha moment for everyone, saying, if we just are patient, if we explain a little better, if we take our time, then a young person can surely find his voice and learn how to advocate for themselves.
These examples are so helpful as we unpack what it means to support the voices of children and youth. I wanted to know a bit more about this particular example. What happened? Was there a positive outcome in supporting the youth finding his voice?
After that, I checked in maybe some weeks later. They're not required. I mean, they're not in class anymore, but I did check in with the facility. And this young man had, technology privileges. He talked to his siblings more. So I think if we, again, it's all about understanding, and then what relationships are we building, right? I think for me, advocating for yourself is about understanding and allowing us to truly see all sides of the problem or the issue or the barrier, and then reacting and finding solutions in that manner.
Wonderful outcome indeed. Now it's time to hear what Jamole has to say about some tips for supporting children and youth voices. Have a listen.
I know professionals, in order to help support the youth voice, one, have to come out of themselves in their professional degrees, right? It's not, I have a degree, what do you know? But again, our young people have lived a lot of life in their short lives. So what I would see professionals need to do to begin to support is really take the time to sit down and listen to them, allow them to talk, allow them to, it doesn't have to be grammatically correct. It doesn't have to be complete sentences, but allowing them just to get anything and everything off of their mind or their chest. 2, help them process what they're thinking. Give them a chance to truly formulate their thoughts and getting things down on paper and asking them questions that's going to lead to a better understanding, not only for them, but for you as a professional. Why are they thinking this way? Why are they reacting or responding in a certain way based off of what they've experienced, and taking all of that into account for the reasons why they think and they act the way they're doing. I think the third thing that you could do as a professional to help a young person find their voice is to walk with them in that journey. Whether it's a therapist, a school teacher, a foster parent, walk with them and help them to formulate their words. And from there, as you're, again, building that trust and building that relationship, they will continue to be bolder as they find their voice.
All amazing tips. Supporting children and youth voice means that the child welfare professionals are leveraging their knowledge, beliefs, skills, and resources to encourage children and youth's self-efficacy, to empower children and youth to advocate for themselves, and to support children's and youth's sense of agency.
To continue your learning journey, check out the other 11 podcasts in the series, including Permanency Planning and Engagement with my friend and colleague, Nathan Ross.
The QIC-EY is 100% funded by the Administration for Children and Families of the United States Department of Health and Human Services.